What if I sold you my daughter?
Huh?
You drop the tab and your son can have Meg.
I have something very important to ask you. Will you marry me?
Meg, your mother made soup for you. Here you go, honey. No, don't use that mustard. Use the other mustard. Oh, God, Meg, they know you're there. Quick, scrape that mustard off. Use the other mustard.
What's going on? I heard a noise. Is somebody downstairs?
Oh, God, Meg, you startled me. I'm sorry.
These are the times Peter Griffin was the worst parent, starting with the time Peter proposed to his son Chris because he was getting the inheritance.
Oh, boy, hot dogs and Nintendo, huh, Chris?
Peter Griffin reaches new levels of greed when he discovers that his father-in-law, Carter Pewterschmidt,
Sucks about your leg, Grandpa. How you been doing?
Well, let me tell you, this is awful. I'm so bored. I can't sleep. I just have to lie here and wait for my stupid leg to heal.
Oh, I'm really sorry, Grandpa.
is planning to leave his entire fortune not to Peter, but to his son, Chris.
I have decided to change my will and name my grandson Chris the sole heir to the Pewterschmidt fortune.
What's Peter's response to this news? Well, instead of being happy for his son or maybe trying to build a better relationship with him,
Listen, Carter, you take me out of your will, I'm taking you out of mine.
Peter sees dollar signs and hatches an absurd plan. He decides to propose to Chris.
I have something very important to ask you.
Yes, Peter actually gets down on one knee and asks his own son to marry him.
Will you marry me?
His logic? If they're married, Peter will be able to share in the inheritance.
Why do you even want to marry me?
It's time to settle down and simplify things, like maybe having one ATM card and one bank account. Say yours.
Forget about fatherly love, it's all about the cash.
Oh, Meg has the mumps all right. How is it she was never immunized?
Meg Griffin can never catch a break, especially when her dad, Peter, is around.
Peter, what the hell?
I want to test the mumps, Lois. Here's your TV, Meg. It's a little old and there's no remote. It only gets one channel and it's not on that channel right now.
In this episode, Meg comes down with a nasty case of the mumps, and instead of being concerned for his daughter's health, Peter reacts in true Peter Griffin fashion.
Well, it was 1992 and I couldn't be bothered with anything that didn't involve Dan Cortez. Besides, what's the big deal? I never got a mump shot.
By turning her illness into a slapstick moment. As Meg lies in bed, clearly feeling awful, Peter decides that the best way to help her is to throw a scalding hot bowl of soup directly in her face.
Meg, your mother made soup for you. Here you go, honey.
Why? Because she looks gross, and Peter seems to think this is a logical, fatherly response. It's the kind of cruel, thoughtless behavior we've come to expect from Peter.
Here's your milk.
Rather than offer her some comfort or even just leave her alone, Peter chooses violence, and all Meg gets is second-degree burns.
No!
Open your mouth.
No!
Peter, open your
No,
mouth.
I
Show
don't
me your
want-
teeth.
No!
Show me your teeth. Peter, did you hear that? Oh my God, there are men breaking into our house.
Dad! What is it? What's going on? I heard a noise. Is somebody downstairs?
Oh, God, Meg, you startled me. I'm sorry.
Only Peter Griffin would turn a home invasion into an opportunity for child abuse and comedy. In this episode, the Griffin family is under siege by burglars, and they need to find a way to escape.
Quick, everyone get in the attic.
Instead of coming up with a sensible plan to protect his family, Peter decides the best course of action is to knock out Meg with a baseball bat. Why? Because he needs her unconscious body to be greased up and shoved through a small opening. To make matters worse, Peter encourages the entire family to spit on Meg so she's greasy enough to slide through.
Everybody spit on Meg.
Stop! Stop! You got... Stop! Okay, I meant I can't do it because there are burglars down there.
It's a scene that perfectly encapsulates Peter's complete disregard for Meg's dignity and safety.
No, don't use that mustard. Use the other mustard. Oh, God, Meg, they know you're there. Quick, scrape that mustard off. Use the other mustard.
Not only does he use his daughter like a human battering ram, but he also humiliates her in the process.
NASA has made the alarming announcement that the newly discovered black hole at the edge of our solar system appears to be expanding.
Which means that all life on Earth will be destroyed within 24 hours.
As the town of Quahog prepares for what they believe to be the end of the world, families gather to say their final goodbyes.
Look, since these are our final hours, I want you kids to know how much your father and I love you.
You'd expect this to be a touching, emotional moment where Peter might finally show some affection for his children. But no, this is Peter Griffin we're talking about.
Hello, everybody. This is Montecore. He's my lion. I have a lion now.
Peter, what the hell?
Instead of telling Chris and Meg that he loves them, Peter seizes the opportunity to drop a brutal truth bomb.
The world is ending. We should be spending these final hours with the people we love most.
He tells his kids that he hates them, straight to their faces. No sugarcoating, no explanation, just pure unfiltered loathing.
Don't you love me?
Of course I love you, Lois. You're the most important person in the world to me. I just hate being around the kids.
What?
In classic Peter fashion, he seems completely oblivious to the emotional devastation this causes. While the world is about to end, Peter's more focused on making sure his kids know exactly how little they mean to him. And when it turns out the apocalypse was a false alarm, the damage is already done.
Wait, what did Dad just say?
Yes, April Fools.
Yeah, Dad, what did you mean?
Don't you like us?
Yeah, what gives?
In this episode, Stewie suffers a serious injury while playing, and Chris and Meg do their best to hide it from their parents.
Is Stewie in here? Time for his dinner.
Oh, don't worry, Mom. We'll bring him down.
You'd think once Peter finds out he'd rush his infant son to the hospital, right? Wrong. Peter's response to seeing his baby son injured is to suggest they go shopping for hats. Rather than dealing with the medical emergency at hand, Peter thinks it's a good idea to just cover up the wound with some stylish headwear. It's almost like Peter believes fashion can solve everything, even a child's head injury. This moment highlights Peter's complete and utter cluelessness as a father. The fact that he's more interested in hats than his baby's health is both hilarious and horrifying, making you wonder how Stewie's managed to survive this long.
Besides, I forgot my wallet.
Well, that's okay. I'll just open up a tab.
When Peter gets himself into serious debt with Mort Goldman, the local pharmacy owner, he doesn't look for responsible ways to pay it off.
Peter, it's the end of the month and I'm calling your tab. You owe me $34,000.
What?
Instead, Peter decides to trade his daughter, Meg, to Mort like she's a used car.
What if I sold you my daughter?
Huh?
You drop the tab, and your son can have Meg.
In exchange for clearing his debt, Peter essentially sells Meg to Mort, who awkwardly accepts the deal and starts treating Meg like his future bride. It's as outrageous as it is disturbing, but for Peter, this is just another day in the life of a terrible dad.
All right, Meg. According to the contract, every night you have to put on my pajamas.
Selling your daughter into what's basically an arranged marriage to pay off your credit card bill? That's a new low, even for Peter Griffin.
You know, I thought I'd be happy being with Neil, but I'm not. This is horrible.
In one of Peter's most scatterbrained moments, he manages to lose Stewie during a trip to the park.
What happened to my new friend? That kid who sort of looks like me from behind.
Wait a minute. Stewie, what happened to your head?
But here's where it gets really bad. Peter comes home with the wrong baby. That's right, Peter is so oblivious that he doesn't even realize the child he's brought home is not his own. It's a whole new level of parenting fail, and the fact that it takes him a while to notice just how off things are makes it even worse. While Peter spends the rest of the episode trying to cover up his mistake, it's painfully clear just how inattentive he is as a father. In this episode, Chris is sitting on the couch, completely lost in thought, emotionally paralyzed by his own insecurities and self-doubt. Classic teenage angst. Instead of addressing Chris's feelings or trying to have a heart-to-heart like a responsible father would, Peter resorts to his usual brute force parenting method. He stands in front of Chris, continuously pelting him with baseballs while Chris remains motionless on the couch, too despondent to react. Peter, thinking this will somehow snap Chris out of his funk, shows his typical lack of empathy, hitting Chris over and over again with little concern for his son's emotional or physical state. What makes this scene particularly memorable and disturbing is the absurdity of it. Peter doesn't stop to ask Chris what's wrong or offer any real support. Instead, his solution is to pelt his son with balls like it's some sort of bizarre motivational tactic. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Which of these moments proves Peter is truly the worst dad? Which scene had you shaking your head the most? Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell icon so you never miss out on more hilarious Family Guy content. See you in the next one.